Okay, so how is it that a book about teenage gangs from the 1960s in Oklahoma, of all places, still feels so incredibly real today? I mean, S.C. Hinton's The Outsiders. It's more than just a classic, right? It's this like raw, honest look at what it means to be divided, to figure out who you are, and just to grow up. So today, let's really dig into what gives this story its staying power.
You know, the most powerful idea in this entire book, it hits you right at the beginning. And it doesn't even come from one of the main greaser characters. It comes from a sock, a girl named Cherry Valance. Just 5 simple words. Things are rough all over. And bam, that one line just shatters everything. It kind of forces you right then and there to look past the leather jackets, past the fancy Corvairs, and start searching for the actual person underneath it all.
So to really get it, you've got to understand the world of this book. And on the surface, it's pretty black and white. It's basically split right down the middle. On one side, you've got the greasers from the east side, the working class kids. And on the other, you've got the socks, which is short for socials, by the way, the rich, preppy kids from the west side. It's like 2 different worlds, 2 completely different tribes, and the only thing separating them is a set of train tracks and a whole lot of cash. All right, so let's really get into this divided world. What's the real difference between the greasers and the socks? Because I'll tell you right now, it's about way more than just money. I mean, look at this. The differences are just night and day. The greasers, yeah, they're labeled as hoods. They've got the greased hair, the leather jackets, that whole look. But what really defines them is their loyalty. They're a found family, and they do anything for each other. And then you have the socks. They've got it all, right? The mattress shirts, the fancy cars, the money, but their home lives. A lot of the time, they're totally empty. Emotionally, they're just as lost as anyone else. Okay, so you've got all this tension just bubbling under the surface. It was a total powder keg, really, and it was always going to explode. It just needed one little spark, and boy, did it get one on one single terrible night.
It's actually crazy how fast a life can just completely fall apart. Seriously, think about this timeline. It all kicks off with a simple argument between Ponyboy and his older brother. That sends Ponyboy running out of the house. By 2:30 in the morning, he and his best friend Johnny are cornered in a park by a group of drunk socks. Just moments after that, Johnny kills a sock to stop them from drowning Ponyboy in a fountain. And before the sun even comes up, they're fugitives. Dally is helping them skip town and hide out in some old abandoned church. Just like that.
So that one moment of violence, it starts this awful domino effect. And this is where the story really forces us to look at the true price of it all. A price that's paid with heroism, yeah, but also with just unbelievable tragedy. And here's where things get so complicated. The church where they're hiding out, it catches on fire. And there are little kids trapped inside. So Ponyboy and Johnny, these 2 kids on the run from the law, they don't even hesitate. They run inside and save them. They go from being fugitives to local heroes, just like that. But the irony is brutal. The rescue comes with a terrible, terrible cost. Johnny gets caught under a falling piece of timber, and his back is broken. That fire, that one heroic act, it ultimately leads to this. 2 lives lost. That's the number that just rips the greasers' world apart. And these aren't just random casualties of a gang war. These 2 deaths, they show us 2 totally different ways of dealing with the end. First, you have Johnny Cade. He dies in the hospital from his injuries. But his last words, they aren't about revenge or hate. He turns to his best friend and says, "Stay gold, Ponyboy. Stay gold." It's this beautiful, heartbreaking plea for Ponyboy to hang on to his innocence, to not let the world make him hard. It's a message of pure hope, even as his own life is ending. And then there's Dallas Winston, Dally, the toughest, meanest greaser of them all. And he just breaks. He can't live in a world without Johnny, so he robs a store, points an unloaded gun at the cops, and basically forces them to shoot him down. And Ponyboy has this chilling realization. Dally's death wasn't an accident. It was suicide by cop. Dally wanted to die, and as Ponyboy says, he always got what he wanted. So after all that pain and loss, the story really shifts. It stops being about greasers versus socks and starts being about something much deeper, finding the humanity behind all those labels we stick on people. You really can't get the greasers until you get this concept of a found family. For a kid like Johnny, whose parents were abusive and just didn't care, the gang wasn't about being a hoodlum. It was his lifeline. It was survival. It was literally the only real family he ever knew, the only place he ever felt safe or loved. And this whole story really is about Ponyboy's personal journey. He starts out seeing the world in total black and white. We're the good guys, they're the bad guys. Simple.
But then he actually talks to Socks, like Cherry and later Randy, and he realizes, wait a minute, they're people. They have problems too. He starts to see how pointless the fighting is, and by the end, he's not seeing greasers and socks anymore. He's just seen people. And that journey brings us right back to the heart of the whole book, doesn't it? To its most important message, all wrapped up in those two little words Johnny said. See, Johnny leaves a letter for Ponyboy, and in it, he explains exactly what he meant. He says being gold is like when you're a little kid. Everything is new, everything is fresh, like dawn. Stay gold means don't lose that. Don't let the world beat that wonder out of you. It's about still being able to appreciate a sunset, even when your life is falling apart. And this is the absolute genius of the book's ending. The very last sentence is almost the same as the very first sentence. And you realize, oh my gosh, the entire novel we just read, that's the essay Ponyboy is writing for his English class. He's telling us his story as a way to make sense of it all.
So that essay, it's so much more than just a homework assignment, right? For Ponyboy, writing this story is everything. It's how he deals with his trauma. It's how he makes sure his friends, Johnny and Dally, are never forgotten. It's him fulfilling Johnny's last wish to tell the world their side of the story. And for us, it's the bridge that lets us walk into their worlds and finally understand.
But you want to know the most incredible fact about this book? The thing that explains why it feels so authentic and so powerful? It all comes down to one number, 16. Yep, S.E. Hinton was only 16 years old when she wrote The Outsiders. Think about that. She wasn't some adult looking back on her youth with nostalgia. She was a kid, writing from the absolute heart of the teenage experience, about the cliques and the conflicts she was seeing every single day at her own high school. And that's why it feels so real. That's where that incredible, timeless voice comes from. Which kind of leaves us with one final big question, right? Because our world is still full of greasers and socks, just with different names. We're still surrounded by labels that are designed to divide us, and all these pressures that try to make us hard and cynical. So the challenge of the book, it isn't just for Ponyboy. It's for every single one of us. How do we choose to stay gold?